What you see behind me is the strictest and largest prison in the world. This mega facility holds tens of thousands of inmates, the most dangerous people you can imagine. Some of them have taken dozens of lives. Even more, we're talking about members of notorious gangs like MS-13 and others. These individuals are often described as beyond redemption, violent, remorseless, and deeply entrenched in criminal life. Welcome to the largest prison by capacity, located in El Salvador. It was built to lock away the most dangerous criminals indefinitely. Once someone enters this prison, they're not expected to ever leave. Escape is not even a consideration. Why would a relatively small country need a facility this massive? The answer lies in the gangs that once terrorized the street. But it took a new government and an iron fist to take them up. That all began to change under a new government crackdown that targeted organized crime with intense force. Within a short time, tens of thousands of people were arrested, making up a notable portion of the country's adult population. Prisoners were transported in heavily guarded operations, lined up in silence with their heads down, a chilling sight. None resisted. Their lives changed overnight. In this documentary, we speak with one of the most feared gang leaders, known by the nickname Psycho, but access is limited. We'll only get a short time. Constructed recently, the prison consists of several distinct modules spread across hundreds of acres. Each section is surrounded by multiple layers of high walls, razor wire, and electric fencing powerful enough to kill. Dozens of watchtowers monitor every movement. The layout, IS&T, just about physical containment. It has designed to crush the very idea of escape. Security is intense. Even we, as media, had to surrender all belongings and pass through advanced scanning equipment that reveals not just weapons, but anything that could be hidden inside a body. It's that thorough, down to checking inside socks and shoes. Guards wear masks to hide their identities, due to the risk of retaliation from gang networks still operating on the outside. Once a person is processed here, they lose all contact with the outside world. No visits, no call. For many families, this documentary may be the only glimpse of a loved one if they're still alive. Before entering the modules, we visited the prison armory. Guards here are prepared for every scenario, from riots to escape attempts. They use powerful rifles, shotguns, and close-range weapons. Fortunately, no riots or escapes have been reported so far. We then boarded a bus to travel deeper into the prison. It's that vast. Even the ground is engineered with loose stones to alert guards to footsteps, making sneaking impossible. The prison runs its own systems for water and electricity to ensure no outside disruptions can interfere. Even if the power grid fails, the prison keeps operating independently. As we entered one of the modules, the tension was overwhelming. Hundreds of inmates stared at us in silence. Their expressions were hollow, lifeless. Most are young men, some barely out of their teens, with serious conviction. Even the world's most infamous criminals rarely have more than a few dozen confirmed victims. But here, some inmates are responsible for far more. These are not low-level criminals. They reconsidered among the most dangerous human beings on the planet. In each module, inmates are packed tightly into cells. Dozens share a single room, and space is minimal. They don't have access to the outdoors. No sunlight, no privacy, no time outside except for a brief weekly break under armed supervision. The conditions are hot. There's no running water in the cells. One blue barrel serves as their drinking supply. Toilets and showers are in the open, a single area used by everyone. Beds are stacked metal frames, no mattresses, no pillows. Each inmate gets just a uniform, some socks, slippers, and a top. That's it. Hygiene is enforced by the guards. Prisoners are shaved regularly, and facial hair is not allowed as it can be used to hide weapons. Many of the inmates are covered in tattoos, symbols of their gang affiliations. 1,000 to 13 members might have numbers or letters. While rival gangs use different signs, including ones linked to the devil, tattoos on the face often indicate a higher rank. Spider webs, devil horns, teardrops, each has meaning. The more teardrops, the more lives taken. Despite being rivals, these gangs now live side by side in this prison. Outside, they would kill each other. Inside, they are forced to coexist. It's a different world, one where their past power means nothing. Surveillance is relentless. Guards watch from elevated catwalks, and cameras monitor every corner around the clock. The lights are never turned off, even at night. Inmates try to cover their eyes with towels to sleep, but rest is rare and never truly peaceful. Some prisoners are allowed limited spiritual or physical activities under tight control. A few engage in Bible study or exercise, but these sessions are brief and heavily supervised. For most of their time, inmates remain locked up with no physical freedom. Even now, some inmates try to send silent messages to the outside. Surveillance teams are trained to detect and block these communications, but the influence of gangs still lingers. There are even rumors of revenge plans, but authorities have promised swift and brutal consequences if anything happens. One official made it clear, if there's retaliation on the outside, the inmates inside won't eat. Not even a single grain of rice. Psycho is one of the highest-ranking members of the Marasai, better known as MS-13. His face is hidden behind a mask, but his reputation precedes him. He's responsible for dozens of murders, tortured killings carried out with extreme cruelty. When I met Psycho, he was calm, polite. It felt surreal. His demeanor didn't match his reputation. I asked him why he did what he did, but his response was simple. It's what I know. It's all I know. There was no remorse, no regret, just a matter-of-fact tone, as if violence was a profession he was good at. He talked about how life on the streets was harder than prison, but also admitted that life there was tough. It was hard to reconcile the man with his record, a man who once commanded fear and respect on the streets. Now he was just another inmate in a crowded cell. Psycho has been arrested before, but he always managed to post bail. This time it wasn't possible. There was no amount of money that could secure his freedom. He was given a life sentence. Looking at him, I thought about the families of his victims, the pain and trauma he caused. At the same time, I saw a man stripped of everything. Power, freedom, dignity. He was just another number in a prison system. As a documentary crew, we had strict rules for our visit. No eye contact with the prisoners, no interactions, no photos or videos taken without permission. It was a controlled environment. All communication was carefully monitored. Still, it was hard not to feel the weight of those stares, the stories behind those blank eyes. We also met Father Bin, a Catholic priest who offers religious guidance to the inmates. It was surprising to see him in such a place. He talked about redemption, second chances, but I wondered if those concepts had a place in such a harsh environment. He seemed undeterred. He said he believed in forgiveness, even for the most hardened criminals. Seeing him, I thought about the nature of faith, the kind of faith that doesn't waver in the face of violence and brutality. Some of the prisoners had legal representation. Their lawyers argued that their clients didn't get fair trials. It was hard to know who to believe. Were these lawyers trying to defend the indefensible? It raised questions about justice, the thin line between order and chaos. One lawyer argued that the situation in the prison was inhumane. He talked about torture, lack of medical care. I thought about the international implications, the debate over human rights versus security. He claimed that the prisoners weren't able to properly defend themselves in court. Their rights were violated. The prison psychologist was there to help inmates deal with their confinement, the psychological toll of such a restrictive environment. She spoke about trauma, coping mechanisms. I thought about the lasting impact of such confinement, the scars that go beyond the physical. She mentioned programs to help inmates reintegrate into society once they're released. But I questioned the likelihood of that happening for the mass murderers held within those walls. I came away with mixed feelings. On one hand, I saw the danger these prisoners posed, the darkness that resided in some of them. On the other hand, I saw individuals trapped in a system, stripped of their rights, their humanity. It made me question the true meaning of justice, whether it lay in retribution or in the possibility of rehabilitation. It was a place where there seemed to be no middle ground, only extremes. You either viewed the inmates as irredeemable monsters or as human beings who deserved a chance at redemption.